I'm so glad we're finally doing this only 2 years later.
And I have a kid.
Yeah, things have really changed.
No, like when I met you, I was on your like Dallas dating show TikTok. Does anyone remember?
Wait.
Yeah. I was like, please put me on there. No one that I know follows you, but like I need to be on here.
Can you just tell people that it was like partially from the TikTok?
I mean, Andrew doesn't even have TikTok, but you know, maybe someone that knows him saw it.
Yes.
And
it's an invisible string.
We actually did get set up by a mutual friend.
Yes.
So
and I don't think she'd be mad if I went on the deal with her.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because she says that my son is her son.
Totally. And he kind of is.
He is. Literally the day he was born, Andrew took a picture of Woods and sent it to Natalie and said, basically yours.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? Yeah. But also I carried him in my belly for 9 months.
No, and also you still take care of him to this day.
No, like changed his diaper this morning.
Mm-hmm. It's like a little different.
But like, it's okay. I can give it to her. Like he wouldn't be here without her. You know what I mean? So like, it's
and
okay.
She deserves that.
She deserves that.
Mm-hmm.
She deserves the world. She's honestly the best.
Yeah, she's really sweet. Yeah, when Maguire and I met, we met through Instagram, but also like a couple people that we knew. We knew
each other.
Yeah. So we had like mutual friends through Instagram. You had just moved to Dallas.
I had just moved to Dallas.
And she was a working girl. Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, you're still a working girl. And then you get pregnant. And then you leave, which in case you guys are wondering, I am wearing an I Heart Texas shirt so that she reconsiders and moves back. And like, if Kate can do it, you can do it.
I know. So, right. So
Kate Davis, that is. Listen to the episode with her.
Kate
Love her.
is like one of my greatest friends. She's my inspo. Like she's on my inspo
That's
board.
what I told her. I was like, you are my it girl.
Like she's like my friend, like a genuine friend of mine. And she's also my inspo. But like, shouldn't you be inspired by your friends?
Yes.
Yeah. So I lived in Dallas for like a year. In that year's time, I met Andrew and we got pregnant with Woods.
Love.
And I decided I had to move home to be closer to my family. And I live 1 block from my grandma and like 3 blocks from my mom and maybe 6 blocks from my sister.
That's actually really cute.
So it's pretty amazing. But I will say, Andrew's a Texas boy. He was born and raised in Texas. He'd been in Dallas for like 8 years after, or like when we moved to Oklahoma City. And he wants to move yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing, I mean, like I love Oklahoma City, born and raised. But you know, Dallas is great too, and it's only 3 hours from Oklahoma City. So we may find a happy medium. We may stay where we are. I guess that's something to stay tuned for.
Yeah.
Maybe by the time this podcast comes out in a couple of weeks, I'll have a better answer of what we're going to do.
No, like I wouldn't be surprised if you had like bought a new house somewhere. and it was none of the locations.
No, it was in like Wyoming.
Yeah.
But like I picture myself on Yellowstone.
We should actually make that trip.
I've never been and I've wanted to go.
Me, Kate.
Yeah.
We get a great group.
We can get Blythe. Blythe will come.
Yes.
She's country.
Yes. Okay, perfect.
We love that.
Love that. No, I would also move there, so I get it. Also, I do just want to address the elephant in the room if y'all are watching on YouTube and you see my feet. This is something that we actually need to talk about more. When you get a spray tan and then you wear cowboy boots, this is what happens, okay? And like I could be wearing Uggs, I could be wearing something else, whatever. I don't care. I had like a wardrobe malfunction. I am who I am and you guys have to accept me.
I mean, my hands are different colors. I self-tanned last night.
The inside of my hands are messed up.
And like it's all like white right there.
Yeah. So I have that right here all over the place.
No, it's really crazy.
And that's girlhood.
And that is women in STEM. Trying to figure out the chemicals to make the hands right. I mean, like we're painting.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're painting our bodies.
We're artists.
Yeah.
I love that.
Right?
Yes. Okay, so we're going to talk about how to build your dream career.
Okay.
Because you've done so many cool things. That's also part of the industry that you're in, is that you're able to do a lot of different projects. But still, you have like a really cool like career path. Can you give them a little bit of a background on you? You also went to Vanderbilt. That's kind of like a big deal. I've always wondered this. You in high school, were you like really studious?
Yeah. But I feel like I was a good mix between studious and also social.
Okay. So you weren't like in your room every single day.
No.
You just like accidentally got into Vanderbilt.
It was an accident.
Totally.
Yeah. So I was senior class president.
Hey,
my claim to fame.
I was class president too.
Really?
Yeah.
Of what year?
Well, I graduated early, so I couldn't be senior. But up until that point, I was class president.
Okay.
But that was just so I could do less.
Right.
Yeah. Like tell people what to do.
Yeah. No, literally. So yeah, I went to Vanderbilt and Honestly, it was like the scariest thing because a lot of my friends were staying in state to go to OU, which is like a fantastic school. I'm still a Sooner fan. And Andrew thinks it's weird. He's like, you didn't even go there. It's like that Mean Girls clip where you didn't even go here. But I'm like, I just was born and raised a Sooner fan. It was scary. And I will tell you, my first year, I thought I was going to have to transfer. I was like, I can't do this. I need to be with my family. Like, I can't. My mom was like, just, really encouraged me to stay. And thank God I stayed. I have such amazing friendships. And when I was at Vanderbilt, my senior year, I worked for country music television, which is like your dream.
I love this. I love these stories.
So I worked I was like in the production department. So I was like a PA on some of the crossroads. Like Luke Bryan was on one, Sheryl Crow. Like we had some really cool crossroads. And that was super fun. And then out of college, I got hired by WME, which is, I think it's now called Endeavor, but it was William Morris Endeavor when I first went out there. I'm not totally sure.
I was wondering this the other day. I think it is Endeavor now.
I think it's just Endeavor.
Everyone knows it as WME.
Yeah.
So whatever.
So I worked there for like a year and a half, and I think I wanted to quit pretty much every day. But if you don't know, like when you start at a talent agency, which everyone says is like grad school for the entertainment industry, you get paid nothing and you work really hard. But it was also such an amazing opportunity. I learned so much, and you start in the mailroom. So actually,
everyone starts in the mailroom regardless?
Every person starts in the mailroom. Doesn't matter if like your dad's the CEO or what, you have to start in the mailroom. When you're in the music department, which is what I was in, is the only department that doesn't actually deliver mail. They do ticket counts for how the shows are selling. So I had to take, like, you have to call each venue for like all these different artists and get an updated ticket count every day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And you're in the basement. And the only way to move up is if like someone's assistant moves to a different desk or like gets promoted, because then that desk is open. And there was a agent that took a chance on me. I was there for like 3 weeks, and like a couple people interviewed, and he was like, I think you're great. Like you should, like whatever. So he brought me up, and then I worked for one other agent while I was there. I stayed, for like a year and a half, almost 2 years. And I was like, okay, I've done my time. My agent life isn't for me, but I really it was an invaluable experience. It really was. And I went from there to work for Brent Bolhouse, who used to do like a lot of events in LA. He does Neon Carnival at Coachella, and he owns the bungalow in
Santa Monica,
Huntington Beach. I think there's a Long Beach now.
Wow.
And there's like Bungalow Kitchen in San Francisco. I don't know what else is there, but that was an amazing experience too. He was great, and it was really just like a family all working, and it was such a different environment from where I had been. It was like super corporate. So it was good to experience both. And then I had an opportunity arise to work for the Kardashian Jenner family, and the interview went well, and they offered me a job, and I took it, and it was hands down the best experience I could have ever had.
No, I can only imagine.
No, I've never learned so much. I still am learning to this day. Like it really laid the foundation for me to know what it takes to get something that you want, to go for what you want and get it, and like have that drive. And if Chris has said it multiple times on different interviews and stuff, like if someone tells you no, you're talking to the wrong person. And I believe that. Like I believe that if you want something, you can make it happen, whether it doesn't take the path that you thought it was going to take. It may take a different path, but like you can make it happen. I left LA because I wanted to be closer to my family. I'm just a family's girl. Like I said, I'm from Oklahoma. And so I moved to Dallas because I felt like it was a good stepping stone career-wise for me. And I was only 3 hours from Oklahoma City. And I think like during COVID, because I was still in LA when COVID happened, like I realized I never wanted to be so far from my family. I couldn't get in the car and drive. I mean, I could, but it was like 18 hours.
Yeah, no, I made the drive before, and it's awful.
It's not for me. So I moved to Dallas, and I started working on my baby, Social Bird. And
Woods.
And Woods, technically, yes. Social Bird was my first baby.
Yes.
But yeah, that's where I am now. And then I got pregnant and moved back, but I'm still doing my consulting career. And I just am constantly, everyone's always like, how do you figure out work-life balance with being a mom and your relationship? And I'm like, it's a constant working at it. But like, if you are always cognizant of like where you put your time and what's important at that moment, then I feel like you can do it. And I'm not perfect every day. And I remember I was talking to one of my mom friends and I was like, I'm really struggling because I work from home and I take care of Woods, and Andrew, you know, we're blessed because he works from home too. And so he can help me. Like if I have to get on a Zoom, and like we kind of try and structure our days, you know, because we love having Woods at home and taking care of him. My mom helps too. But she was like, some days, like, because I was like, I just feel like I'm not good at anything right now. And, you know, it was also postpartum and the baby blues. And she was like, there are always going to be days where you're a better worker than you are. And then there's going to be days where you're a better mom than you are a worker. And you're a better like wife or partner to someone than you are a mom, or you're a better partner. You know what I mean? So, and it really helped me not to say like when you're a better worker and it doesn't mean you're a bad mom. It just sometimes means that like your time, sometimes you're going to give everything you have to like a project, and then you're going to be able to step back from that project and give everything you have to your baby. And I think I also saw this thing, I'm like going all over the place, but I saw this thing that was like, when you're in a relationship, it should always equal 100. And I'm sure a lot of people have seen it because I've talked to like multiple people in different groups, and I always bring it up and they're like, oh yeah, I saw it. But like Andrew and I try to do that, where if I'm like, I have to give 85% of myself to work today, like today I drove here and he's like, okay, like I've got Woods, I've got the, you know what I mean? Like we try and structure ourselves where he picks up what I don't have and I pick up what he doesn't have.
Yeah.
It's not perfect, but we're figuring it out. You know what I mean?
I think also when it comes to people talking about balance, I heard it said of it's really more about like what you have different priorities. And sometimes there are higher priorities, and it's different because obviously with children, your children are always like your number one priority, but just like day-to-day priorities.
Right.
Like sometimes you'll have, like when I was in college, it was like sometimes school was more important than work, or sometimes work was more important than school. And it was more about like what the priority is for that day. I guess with the kid, it doesn't really work. So you like take that out of the situation. Right. But like your day-to-day, like even like you work out every morning, like certain things in your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like that is something that I've always loved, is working out. And like I used to go to a 9:30 class, and then like it kind of got moved up till 7. And now like I go at 5:30 before Woods wakes up. But that's because I want to go, because Andrew goes later. And so like I'm happy to go in the morning and get it done while they're both asleep. That way, like I know obviously he's home with him. And like I get my day started, and then like Woods and I's mornings are my mornings with him. Like we have his bottle and we play, and like he eats breakfast, and like that's like where I feel like I can dedicate like such a good portion of my day to only focusing on him, because like he'll be up from 7 to 9, and like I'm not totally needed on my email right then. You know what I mean? Like I can give everything I have to being a mom. I've been up, I've had my day started, I've had me time, so then I can have Woods time.
Yes. Okay, so we talked a lot about your career, and something that I think is really important. You are a very hard worker. You're very driven, and you are the spirit that you're talking about that Chris has of like, if you're talking to the wrong person, or if you're get a no, you're talking to the wrong person. You just have that spirit of working hard and having a vision and going after it. So I want you to talk more about like how hard you're actually working, because if you're hearing this and you're like, well, and then I worked here, and then I worked here, and then I worked here, it almost just sounds like, oh yeah, well, you just like got these crazy jobs. Like, that's not really how it happened.
Right. No.
So what were you doing, and what are your tips as someone who's like starting out in their career?
Okay. So I would say no job is too small. And I think one of the most important things, no matter what job you have, is you stay until the routine is clean. I understand work-life balance, but when you're getting your career started, like you have to stay. Like be the last person there that your boss looks at and is like, okay, you can like go home now. Like you don't need to stay. Never be like running out the door, because it's those later nights or it's those early mornings where you actually learn the most. And I also think it's important to learn who you're working for, like as a person, right? Like know when they're going to want to talk about X, Y, and Z. And when, you know, because I was an assistant for a long time. So like that's my forte. But prioritize like when to talk about something with someone, and like really learning them instead of going up to them at like the worst possible time and they don't want to talk to you, or like it's just not something they want to talk about at the moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I also,
read the room.
yeah. And I think it's important to like what matters to that person, to whoever you're working for, is what is the most important thing. So you may have like people on the outside or people that are also working like, I need this answer. I need this answer. I need you to get this answer for me. I need you to get this answer for me. And like, yes, that's part of your job, at least as an assistant, or really like you can make it work in any situation. But the person that you're working for, your boss, what's most important to them should always be most important to you. Like if putting together a holiday party is like the most exciting thing in the world to them, give it your all. And like obviously give it your all to everything, like never let anything slip through the cracks. But that's part of doing your job, is handling what needs to get done. And then like, always under promise and over, what is it?
Over deliver.
Yeah. Like that's what I always think. Like, and that's what I mean too by being the person that stays, because I get like, you want to go home, you want to lay down, you want to, but like, it's so important to put your time in. And I do feel like some people in this, like in the younger generation, like are clocking in and out. And like, it's just, you can't watch the clock when you're building your career, because time really is everything that we have and we don't. And like the more time you put in, the more you're going to get out of it.
When you were in college, would you have ever guessed your career would turn out how it's turned out?
No.
Like, what did you want to do then, and how has that changed?
I went to Vanderbilt and I was going to be a doctor.
Oh, wait, I knew that actually.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I wanted to be an oncologist, and I actually worked for an oncologist when I was in high school, and I loved it. And I think it was, looking back, I think it was more the aspect of taking care of someone that I felt drawn to, rather than like actually the medicine part.
Mm-hmm.
So, I went to Vanderbilt my first semester. I'm taking like, I think you take inorganic chemistry or organic chemistry first. I don't know.
Any chemistry, I'm not about.
And like, I got like a B-, which at Vanderbilt, they do pluses and minuses. So like if you get an A-, it's not a 4.0. It's like a 3.2 or something like that. It's really cheap shit. But I think I got a B-, and I literally was like, I hate this. And I cried and cried and cried and cried. And I was like, I have no idea what I want to do. And I think that was scary for me too, because for the past like 4 years, I was like, I'm going to be a doctor. Like, that's what I want to do. I'm going to be a doctor. And then I got there and I was like, and obviously chemistry isn't everything about being a doctor, but like, I just knew it wasn't the path for me. Like I didn't resonate with the people that were in my classes, and, best thing I could have done was switch my major and start exploring different things. And then I really got interested in fashion kind of, or maybe more of like blogging, not necessarily like me blogging, but I used to like love to read other people's blogs or like really get to know them.
Who were you reading back then?
God, I don't even remember. I've followed, she's now Mary Lawlessly on Instagram, but I followed Happily Gray for so long.
Yeah.
And I love her because she was a nurse, and then like she stepped away from that and like built this whole career and now has her own product line. And like that is inspo to me, because she really like fulfilled something. I mean, I don't know her personally, but like she fulfilled that career path for her. And she's like, there's more I can do. And she went and did it. And I think that's amazing.
Yeah, it's very cool. I think changing your mind about anything is one of the scariest things
so
to
scary.
do. But once you do it, it's so freeing.
It's so freeing. I think I really struggled with leaving LA, not because like if I was there, I would still be working at my job, I think. I mean, I know I genuinely wanted to be closer to my family. And I was like, do I do this? Do I not? Do I do this? Do I not? And I felt crazy, because I feel like, especially going to Vanderbilt, there was a lot of people that moved to New York and LA, and it was like the thing to do. And it's like, how can you walk away from this life you've built here? And I was like, I think I have to. And that was the scariest thing. And I cried and I was like, I need to come home. And my mom was like, you can come home whenever. And I think that was the best decision I could have made for myself, because I just felt like I didn't feel like I was going to create the life that I wanted for myself there.
Yeah.
I want my mom to live a couple blocks from me. I want my grandma to be able to walk to my house. You know what I mean? Those are things that like matter to me. And so I was like, okay, so I'm going to build my career where I want to be.
that was what we originally bonded over.
Yeah.
Because I had moved to LA, or I moved out of LA maybe a year before you had.
Yeah.
And I had felt the same way. I really just over time, my move was a little bit different, but I just was like, I don't think that this is the place that I want to be. And it doesn't resonate with me. And the craziest part is that like, there's no ounce of me that resonates with LA at all anymore. Like, I'm so like, my life here is so much more like, I just feel so aligned and like at peace here. So it's crazy. Like when I think back to that there was even like a teetering of the line, but it was really scary because you're always taught growing up when you want to have a career in entertainment or want to be an entrepreneur or want kind of just be in any of those industries, it feels like you have to live in LA or New York.
Yes.
So I love the movement of people doing that elsewhere.
Right.
You know?
No, I do too. And like, I think, you know, COVID was not great for a lot of reasons, but, you know, it did teach us that we can be resilient and like find new ways to connect with people.
Mm-hmm.
Which segueing into that's really why Social Bird was born.
Okay, let's go into this.
Okay. So Social Bird was born out of really the idea of bringing people together and, you know, uniting, especially women, because I feel like women are having, they're not having, like they've had and they're continuing to have a moment and like really rising to the careers that they want to have. And it's different than like my grandma's generation are with friends, like having a great dinner. And like, I know you love hosting, like that's what it is. It's like the art of hosting and bringing people together and like wanting to connect people, whether have been friends for years or you're just meeting for the first time.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really where the base of the brand is. And then obviously like it's a rosé and we feel like the best grapes for rosé are from Provence. And so we didn't stop till we were able to go find.
I believe you.
We didn't stop. I went and handpicked them myself. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but she would.
Yeah, I really would. So we went and we found like the best grapes and really developed a product we were proud of. And because like when you're sampling wine and you're trying to find, you know, the taste and mixing all the palettes together, like we looked in Napa at first and we just felt like it was too sugary and not something that like we wanted to drink ourselves. And so we literally skipped a whole year of production, which was like a really scary choice, right? And we were like, we have to go find grapes in France. And we found them. And then it's been really like a amazing experience because let me tell you, alcohol is not for the faint of heart.
Alcohol is, in my opinion, the hardest industry to be in.
It is so hard, but so challenging and really rewarding once you put in like the effort and like making the relationships. And I would say also being in the alcohol industry is about making relationships with your distributors, with places that carry you, like wanting to have events. Like we had the event at Mr. Charles, like, so it's really about making all these relationships, which is where Social Bird was founded. And like, you know, the idea of flamingos and flocking together and, you know, we wanted something girly but not like I don't mean it in like a little girl way, but in like a powerful woman.
And not in like a chuggy way either.
Right.
That's an important thing to
like
know.
I love pink.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of it.
Well, and like also my studio looks like a nursery, but like it looks like a mature nursery, you know?
I'm
like,
proud to like pink and it doesn't make me chuggy, okay?
No, but that's not chuggy. I mean like marketing chuggy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't mean pink is chuggy.
Like
Hello.
BFFs forever.
Yes.
But that's what I mean, Social Bird. Like we're all social birds. And I think that that's really the idea behind the brand is being social together and like constantly creating new relationships, meeting new people, forming connections, having a great glass of wine at a dinner party or during lunch or right now.
Or literally Tuesday at 3 p.m.
Or when you're filming a podcast.
Yes. Like I said, you're very hardworking and you got yourself into all the rooms that you got into. It really wasn't just happenstance. It didn't just happen, right? So do you have any advice for imposter syndrome or being confident when like maybe you're scared out of your mind?
Let me think about that because I feel
you
like
feel that way.
Yes, of course. Like even coming today, like I've never done a podcast before. This is my first podcast. Yeah. But I think what you have to do is just like own it. whether or not you've done it before or not. So own the fact that you've never done this, but you're giving it a shot. Always be confident in yourself and your abilities. I think that's where like everything starts, and that you can, take that all the way back to like loving yourself and being proud of who you are and being confident in that. And then be confident in your skills and your abilities. And if you're not confident about something, learn. Constantly learn. You can listen to podcasts, watch things on YouTube, do research. Like if you don't know something, find it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that helps you like get into a room. I remember like one of my like favorite things to say is like, I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss on here.
You are definitely allowed to.
But like I can get shit done.
Yeah.
Like if I went to someone and I couldn't get it done, you knew that like, okay, we've got to try a different avenue. But I don't like not try, and I will always try until I figure it out. There's always a way. Like I remember like I almost put my mom on a plane to fly me out a package that like I needed for work the next day. And like, thank God we didn't have to, but like I was on American.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to figure this out. Like, how can we get this package to me tomorrow? So I think, yes, confidence is built obviously over time in your abilities as like a worker and whatever skill you do. But when I launched my consulting career, I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I did. Of course, I like, like what to do and like, what you're good at, but it's evolved.
I think there's always a percentage of you not knowing anything. And everyone has that.
Yeah.
So even with you having like some of the craziest experience, you still feel that way. And that's important to note. This is why I really need you to get on the Ed Milet train. Okay. I'll be sending you some podcasts for your drive.
Okay.
But he talks about self-confidence is built by making promises to yourself and keeping them.
Yeah.
So I'm the same way. Like there's never been anything in my life that I've said I wanted to do that I haven't followed through on done or made happen. Like even something as small as like my morning routine to like a big career thing, right? But I think when you're making small promises to yourself every single day, confidence at the end of the day is just trust. Right. So you're building trust within yourself. Currently reading, it's not out by the time that this episode's out. It's probably like a few weeks away, but I'm reading Jamie Kern-Lima's new book, and she is the founder of It Cosmetics, and she sold it to L'Oreal for $1.2 billion. She's been on the podcast multiple times, and she's the best. She's coming back on. Literally, if there's anyone that I idolize in this world, it is her. Okay. She's amazing, but I'm like maybe 2 chapters in. I'm at Dry Rot yesterday. I'm like literally crying when I'm reading the book. But
I want to read it.
It's so good. But she talks about the difference between their self-confidence and self-worth.
Okay.
And how like we have a lot of self-confidence. Like we both are like, we can make it happen, whatever. Right. But self-worth comes from like, you are enough without doing any of that. Or like you are worthy regardless of like exterior things. I'm butchering that. We'll talk about that like very soon. But I can only imagine self-worth would actually be the thing that like really also helps you with imposter syndrome.
And I think it's important to always be humble, no matter if you are the most knowledgeable person in the room or you know the least. Be humble and always treat people with respect. Like even if you are delivering some shitty news and you're like, this isn't going to happen today. Like, I know we prepared for this, but something came up. Always like treat people like they're human, like you appreciate the work that they put in, like you care about their time, care about not necessarily like, yes, you care about their feelings, but in a way that's like, be pleasant to work with. The more you respect others, the more they'll respect you and like want to work with you. And especially something I believe in is if you do make a mistake, own it. If you are out there trying to blame the mistake on every other person, you're never going to get anywhere. Like you have to step up and be like, you know what, I made this mistake. Like I thought this was the right call and it clearly wasn't, but I'm going to fix it. And this is how. Like I believe in that too, because we're human. We're going to make mistakes, but it's about how you like recover from those mistakes.
That also makes people respect you a lot more.
Of course.
Like
the fact, I'm over here like, oh, I was late, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, really, no, I just couldn't get myself out the door. I wasn't late. I was like 15 minutes early, but
I knew you would be too.
Yeah. But like, it's, you have to just take ownership. I think that I've experienced, or we've probably all experienced at some point, something that goes wrong. And it's really, whether it was my fault or not. And there have been times where it has been my fault. And like, that's not the most fun pill to swallow. Like it sucks when you've messed up, but you have to own it. And like when you're owning it, already have the solution in your mind of how you're going to fix it.
Yeah, I think the solution's like a really massive part of it too.
Well, yeah. I
you
mean,
know,
you need
no, like always own it. But I think that like, regardless, that's an amazing thing to do. But like having the solution's like the extra mile.
right.
You know?
Right. Like you obviously like, okay, you messed up. Don't be like, oh, whoops, I messed up.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do now.
There's a way to go about
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I'm not saying like, oh yeah, I made a mistake there. Like, you know, oh, I was
Mhm.
texting and driving and I wrecked my car. Whoopsie. No, like,
Yeah, like-
I'm just saying like, own your mistakes and like fix them.
But on it, like there's really nothing worse than someone who blames everyone else for
No,
anything for
it's
something.
Horrible.
So even if you're doing the whoopsie, don't do that. But like that's better
Yeah.
than blaming it on everyone else.
Joe back here being like, it was Maguire's fault. And I'm over here like, leave me out of this.
I have nothing
Wait,
to do
that
with
reminds
this.
me. Have you seen the documentary Love Has Won?
No.
It's so crazy. It is about like a cult, but
Oh,
a
love a cult
small
doc.
cult. It's a small cult, but they are all in.
Okay.
And like when
You know, we would be amazing cult leaders. Have you ever thought about that?
no.
Not leaders, cult members.
Oh yeah.
Actually, maybe leaders too.
I'm a leader.
We were both.
Yeah.
We could definitely like tag team and do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like personality wise, like when I was reading up on people who join cults, you'd be surprised. It's our kind of personalities because we're all in. It's not people that there's like two extremes. Like one that's like really easily persuaded and one that's like our personality type.
Okay.
We'd kind of kill it in a cult. But anyways.
Well, I'm not going to try and spoil anything. It is a good watch. Like, you know, knowledge is power. Always learning. Not going to, you know, but when the cult leader acts out, she blames it on Robin Williams. And they're like,
oh, yeah, I heard about this recently. And does Robin Williams, did he know he had any sort of affiliation?
no,
with this?
and he's no longer living.
Yes.
And, you know, rest in peace. But yeah, like her followers will be like, oh, that's not, I can't remember her name now. They're like, oh, that's not Sally. That's just Robin. And Robin's probably like,
oh, like this is current day. This isn't before he passed. This is like right now. They're
no,
blaming him and he's
well,
dead.
I think it was like 2018, 19,
Okay, so
2020.
He passed when I was in like high school. It
Yeah.
was like 10 years ago.
Yeah. I need to fact check
Also,
that.
the fact that I was in high school, but
Yeah.
that's crazy.
No. And so, I mean,
So don't blame Robin.
don't blame Robin. Like, I feel bad for Robin.
No, me too. He doesn't deserve that. I want to talk about our career goals.
Okay.
And maybe let's start with career idols. Can you guess mine?
Dolly Parton.
Yes, but more specifically, Martha Stewart.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But if I could sing, Dolly Parton.
yeah.
Obviously. And
How did you feel about her at the Dallas Cowboys game?
well, I was heartbroken that I wasn't there.
She's an icon.
She's an icon. She's a legend. She was perfect. She did everything of the sort. But you know, I got to go. They invited me to a press conference this year. I got to go.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah. I
remember?
did. Did you
That was huge.
meet
And
her?
well, no, and there was only like 40 people in the room.
You made eye contact.
Yeah, and I like you could raise a hand and ask a question, and like that, like I know Dolly and I are gonna meet.
Yeah.
and, like I don't.
That
need it to
wasn't
be like that.
no.
That wasn't the
Mm-mm.
moment.
No.
I've gotten invited to like a couple other things, so like everyone, fingers crossed that like this is the year I meet Dolly.
Yeah.
But no, it's Martha Stewart, and we put her masterclass on this morning for maybe 30 seconds, and she starts it off by being like, "I just built a career off everything that I like," and I'm like, "Yes, Martha."
That is exactly
Yes.
right. Okay, so Martha, mine
Mhm.
is Emma Grede. I think that she is a powerhouse. She really I like that she has her hand in so many different things and puts like such a touch on everything. And I love that because she just does it. And I you know, I'm so fortunate to have been in the room with her a couple times. And it's just like watching her work is really, it's such an amazing experience. And I think that like would be my goal as like a consultant, right? Would be to be in different projects and like obviously one day be able to pick and choose like what projects I'm in, but really be like passionate about those projects, you know? And I think that that's something I've learned as being a mom too, is not to take on everything, not to say yes to everything. Like it really is the art of saying no when it's important. But, you know, I don't know what she says yes and no to, but the things that she is a part of, I do feel like she's just amazing.
For those who don't know, she's a part of Good American, Skims. Is she a part of Kylie's stuff?
Kai?
tags to the clothing.
Molt safely, get safely.
Yes. Is she an 818?
I'm not
I don't
positive.
think she is. I don't really know. I listened to her very recently
Yeah.
on a podcast, and I love her.
I also love Lauren Bostick.
Same. Yes.
She is like, there's one thing that she said, and I'm going to butcher how she said it, but she said like launch fast and figure it out.
Adjust later.
Yeah. And I believe that. Like, what are we waiting for? Obviously, like, don't launch with nothing. Like, you need to, you know, have your ducks in a row. But
it doesn't have to be perfect.
Right.
Because perfection doesn't exist. I think that's what they're.
Right. Exactly. Like, I love that. And I love listening to her podcasts. And I love the brand that she's built. I literally just ordered the new silicone dry brush. I'm excited about it. Or I don't know if it's a dry brush. It's
the butter one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not totally sure what I ordered, but I saw it and I loved it and I ordered
that's
it.
the point. Like, you'll buy any. I'm the same way. And like, obviously I know that.
I have like a million of their ice rollers. I gave them away for Christmas like 2 years ago.
Yes. Like, I'll buy anything that she's attached to because I just trust it.
Right.
You know?
And I love the whole idea behind the brand. I think it's amazing.
Genius. I have a question for you as a consultant.
Okay.
So you have your hand in a bunch of different businesses. I also want to talk about makeup brushes in a second.
Okay.
But I feel even just within, like, obviously I have my own stuff, and then I have the podcast, and then I have YouTube, and then I have so many other things that are just under like Kenzie Elizabeth, and then I have a friend of mine. Like, sometimes I will get, and I do delegate. I could definitely delegate more, but which is I think is going to be like my next year. But sometimes I feel like I wish that I only had one thing so I can give one thing 100%. But obviously it's just like not really possible.
Yeah.
With what I've built, and that's not the point. But like, what would your advice be as someone who has your hand in like so many different endeavors?
I mean, I think that one thing I will say is like, you know, the simplest way is like time management. But if something's not serving you, don't do it. I also am the person that like, I'm not always the best at saying no. And Andrew, you know, is like, you always try and do everything. And that's true. Like, I do feel like I try to do a lot. And like, my goal for this coming year would be to really only do what I care about. Not that I don't care about these things, but to really only do what I'm passionate about, or like, you know, what's important to me. And not from a selfish standpoint, but more of like, you know, my family is important to me. My baby's important to me. Andrew, like our relationship, my work is, but on certain projects, you know, I would say my advice isn't good because will answer the phone at all times. Like, and I think that that's like my worst trait and my best trait, you know, like you know, unless I'm like giving birth and I can't answer my phone, but I was literally emailing the day after I gave birth. Not that that's like the right thing to do, but it's what I was emailing about, something that's like Social Bird being like landing in port. Like, it landed in port at 48 hours after I gave birth to Woods, and I had to coordinate, you know, there was nothing like, so I think like you give your all to things that you're passionate about, and things that don't serve you, you don't let them in your life.
Yeah, you cut it.
And it's hard. It's so hard because there are things like you want to help everyone. You want to be a part of something. You want to like, you know, but I think that, yeah, but I also on the other side of that always answer my phone. So I think that that's helped me develop some really important and deep, true relationships with some of the people that I work with, because I'm always there. And I will always show up for people that I care about, and I'll always be that person on the other end, like trying to figure something out if no one else can.
Yeah. See, I'm like, so I feel like I'm so similar to you.
Yeah.
In so many ways. But like, yeah, like one of my biggest things in life is like showing up. So
right.
There's things that I can think of that I definitely am cutting back on in the next year.
Right. But it's like you're just trimming the fat.
Totally.
It's not like you're shutting down everything. You're just like, and I think with each week, month, year that goes on, like we get better at trimming the fat, and we get better at like focusing our attention. And if we feel like what I always am proud of is how self-aware I am. And I really try to be, and that's years of therapy and like, you know, but like I try to be as self-aware as I can, because when I know myself, I can be better for others.
Yes.
And like better at doing certain jobs, or, you know what I mean? So I think that time, which time, isn't always like the greatest thing to rely on because like no one wants to get older. But with time, we do get better at what we put our attention towards. And there always are going to be times where you're like, I don't want a part of this. Like, what have I been doing for the last 6 months? And then it's like, okay, like that, like going back to what you said earlier, like changing your mind is so scary. But once you do it, it's freeing.
Yeah, totally. Can you show us the makeup brushes?
Yeah.
Guys, this is one of the smartest things. So when you posted, I didn't even realize you were working with them. When you posted it, I immediately followed. Okay. It's amazing.
So Bondell is my friend Ellie thought of this idea, or she wasn't actually my friend at the time. I got connected with her through someone I was working with, actually, how I believe all great connections happen. Mm-hmm. And she had this amazing idea. It's a makeup brush subscription. The idea behind it is your makeup brushes, they're so dirty. They're so dirty. And when do you clean them? Like either you clean them really religiously, and some people do. It's not me.
Not me.
I don't have the time.
I was supposed to clean them this weekend. Didn't happen.
No, I don't have the time. So it's a makeup brush subscription. And essentially it's so you don't have to clean your makeup brushes. I mean, some people like still have their brushes from high school. Also, when you do clean your brushes, they never work the same. They don't like the payoff of product is never the same. Like your brushes, the more you use them, the more product they eat. So like the best brush you can get is obviously the freshest, cleanest, newest one. Brushes are also expensive. Like you can buy a $500 brush set. $500.
Yeah.
One brush is like $70. It's Sephora. So this was the idea behind this. And it comes like, this is the brand Bondell. And the idea behind this is really like to make things easier for you. And one brush set. So you right now it's a 3-month delivery. So one brush set is $68 every 3 months.
That's a really good deal for the amount.
You get 5 brushes, a makeup sponge, an eyelash or eyebrow spoolie, and hair clips. Obviously, we like hair clips.
Love.
The quality of the brushes, you guys. So you get 5 brushes. Here they are. They all have the little cute Bondell logo on them. And you can use them however you want, right? So I say that is a big eyeshadow brush. Mm-hmm. Some people use it for concealer.
Oh.
To get really specific, right? So like I use this brush for contour, like my wet contour, like when I'm sponging out my... Yeah. Then I use this brush for blush, but that's because I'm crazy and I love blush. And
you really do.
The more blush, the better.
I was thinking about how your blush looked perfect earlier.
Oh, thank you. But you could use one of the smaller ones. I use this guy for powder, which is also perfect for a night out because you always need a powder brush in your purse. And then I use this for like my powder bronzer to kind of go like all over. But like I know people that use this for their powder bronzer, use this for their blush. Or this for their blush. You can really use anything. And then where's the little makeup? The makeup sponge is elite. It's so good. I can't wait for you to try it.
I love a sponge. I'm excited to try tomorrow.
Right? And then obviously hair clips. But the hair clips and the spoolie will change with every delivery. Like this isn't always going to be what you get. But the idea behind it really is like better, cleaner skin. Because when you're constantly using the same makeup brushes, it's so dirty and bad for your skin. And like, yes, you can do as much skincare as you want, but if you're using dirty makeup brushes, it's just like putting dirt back on your face. You can also gift it.
Yeah.
So which is like such a good gift to give someone like for their birthday or Valentine's Day or something. You can do 6-month or 12-month. And it's just like one flat fee for you if you're paying for it. And then it sends them like an email and you can print like a PDF or how you can do it however you want. But it's such a good gift because and then they will have the option to renew. Like it'll go to their email and like they'll have the option to renew at the end of the subscription. But like even my mom and her friends are like, I've been using the same makeup brushes for so long. And I will tell you, like every time I plan to clean my makeup brushes, if I do clean them, it is always at the most inconvenient time and they're still wet when I need to use them again.
And for some reason, I just feel like they're never clean enough.
They're never clean enough.
Or maybe I didn't get all of the like shampoo out of it. Or I don't know. I just think it's genius.
And like you can use different cleaners, but they're probably not good for your skin.
Yeah, that's true.
So you've got 5 brushes here and you can drink your rosé while you're doing your makeup. But I mean, this is just one of the other brands that I'm also involved in because I believe in it. And Ellie had this amazing idea and I was like, I absolutely want to be a part of that. And we
That's so
really
smart.
followed Lauren's advice on like just launch fast because we kept going back and forth with different manufacturers. They're also made in the USA, designed in Texas.
Oh,
We love that. And we're really trying to start a movement of like Bondell girls. Like we're doing like get ready with Bondell.
That's cute.
And like see how other people use their makeup brushes because Ellie, the founder, uses them different than I do. And I think I personally think it's a genius idea. So I think you should too. But yeah, and then I'm trying to think of other things. I really like to work with women founded businesses.
Yeah.
Like I've worked with Alexa Kelly, who is jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually wearing her earrings.
I have so many rings. I love them.
I know. And this is also, I don't work with her, but this is my friend of mine, Blair B Jewelry. She's out of Oklahoma. But yeah, I love women founded businesses.
Women founded businesses. What are you excited for in the next year? Like, what do you want to accomplish in the next year?
Well, what I really want to do prior to the next year is create like my vision board because I will say like that first year I was living in Dallas, I had just moved in December and I got COVID and like it was like I couldn't see anyone and everyone went home for Christmas and I was like by myself and I Instacarted all these magazines and I like made this massive poster board, a vision board, and I would say a lot of those things came true or like came true in the way that like they were meant to come true, right? So I want to do that. But I would say, what are my goals? Like, I really want to get better with my time. And like I said earlier, like it's always a constant like push and pull balance for me. But I want to like have days designated for certain things so I can give my all to like social strategy on this. I also want to personally like be more available to people. Like I always get a lot of questions about your consulting business or how'd you do this? Or like, do you have a tip for this? And I really want to like answer people's questions more. I also want to really build up Social Bird. Like that is, it's like Anna and I's passion project, right? So it's this like amazing thing. And I want to create like a Social Bird movement. Like I want to have more in-person events like that dinner we threw at Mr. Charles.
It was so fun.
I've had so much fun. I had way too much to drink.
It was, I told this after, it was the best like brand event I've been to. It was so much fun. We had such a good group of girls
it was
there,
great.
But the actual event itself was just so good.
Right. So I want to do more like that. Like I want to, be involved in other people's stuff too, or do more collabs. Like I want to do something with you. Like I feel like now that I have my feet underneath me as a mom, because it takes a minute. It's a little shock to the system. Like it's amazing. And like, everyone's like, how'd you know what to do? It's like, you really do know what to do. Like you just have a baby and like you figure it out. But now that I have my feet, planted in the ground and I'm like confident in who I am as a mom and confident who I am as a partner to Andrew, I want to really build up my businesses to where I can see them. And like I want to build them to where I see them going. Like I want to get in the right rooms. Even if I, get some no's along the way, I want to reroute and figure it out because I think that, the projects that I am involved in like Bondell and Social Bird, really, those are the only two right now. I believe that they can be big and I want to be there when they get big and I want to like help them get there.
So not to bring up my light again, but I'm reading this book. There's a book called How to 10X Your Life. It's by like Dan Sullivan and someone else. It's an author duo that I love. Like another book of theirs like changed my life. By the way, y'all, as you are listening to this, it's December and we're pre-recording this. So I know I probably have a solo episode out on this topic by now. But Ed Milet recorded a podcast with Dan Sullivan.
Okay.
How to 10X Your Life. And he goes through and it's basically like an inverse of like you change 80% of your habits to change your whole life. And then 20, most of the time it's almost easier basically to 10X your life than it is to just double.
Okay.
Because if you double, you only have to change 20%.
Okay.
And so just because you barely have to change anything, you're less likely to.
Okay.
But when you have to change 80% of your life, you're way more likely to actually do it when you're like driven and focused and whatnot. On that podcast episode, they were talking about this guy, and it has like really stuck with me.
Okay.
And this guy was, I think he was 65, starting like in his like real estate business. He had apartment complexes that were for people who I believe were handicapped in some sort of way. So they
Okay.
were built in a very specific way. So it made it harder to like acquire more properties. He said, in my next 5 years, before I decide to retire, I want to build 3 more properties in the next 5 years.
Okay.
He ended up doing that because he like switched his thinking and switched the way he worked in
Wow.
3 weeks because he just wasn't thinking correctly. So he did his 5-year goals in 3 weeks because of this how to 10x. So like that's what I'm all about this year.
I want to do that too.
It's so crazy. I was like, everything that I want from like 5 years from now, I want like not in a way that's like, oh my God, I want now. Like I just want to be smarter. I just want to be smarter.
Yeah,
basically.
I think that that's what I mean too. Like being smart with your time is so important. And like I have, been working on and doing a good job at balancing. But I think it's important to like, you can always get better.
Yes.
You can always get better. And like, I never want to be complacent with where I am.
Ever. Also, your life always changes. So there's
Right.
always something to do.
And it's like, how you adapt to that is the most, I think, important thing of like anything that happens. Like, okay, my life took me back to Oklahoma City. I'm there right now. Like, how do I adapt? Like, what makes the most, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it's important to go with your life and not against it.
Yes. All about evolve.
We're always evolving.
Always evolving.
I mean, I've evolved. I evolve every day, I feel like.
Yeah.
And the things I used to be stressed out, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, what's most important is like my family and raising, like, we're healthy. I have a healthy son and like I'm in a loving relationship. And so it's like, I have a beautiful family. I think it's always like, I don't know.
It's worked out well.
Yeah. Prayer is powerful too.
Yeah, that is true. I'm like back on my prayer game.
Yeah. I say prayers with Woods every night.
Oh.
And it's really made me realize how blessed we are. Like we pray for like, thank you God for like a strong, healthy baby boy that's continuing to grow and like a roof over our heads. And you know what I mean? It just humbles you and really like how blessed we truly are.
I like cannot wait to have a kid. I'm so excited.
You're going to be the best one.
I have like such crazy baby fever right now.
Well, it's a lot.
No, I can like wait, but I have baby fever.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Where can they find you? And Social Bird and Bolhouse.
Okay. You can find me on Instagram, Maguire Amundsen. You can find Social Bird on Instagram, Social Bird Rose. It's also available in Texas, in Dallas specifically. And it's all on our Instagram. It's at Pogo's. It's also available in Oklahoma City if you're watching there. Find Bondell on Instagram, Bondell Official. Bondell is also on TikTok, Bondell Official, or Bondell.com, socialbird.com, or thegracefulproject.com. That's my consulting company.
Love.
Graceful 2 L's. Don't forget.
Don't forget.
We're extra full.